pendengar dan pemirsa RRI, saat ini saya Retno Mandasari sudah bersama Duta Besar Rusia untuk Indonesia yang mulia Bapak Sergei Tolchenov di kediaman dinas beliau. Kita akan berbincang lebih lanjut mengenai utamanya hubungan bilateral Indonesia dan juga Rusia. Hello Ambassador, how are you today?
Well, fine. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us today.
My pleasure.
So let's get to the business. Okay, what is actually the condition of the diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Russia?
Well, I believe so. Now our bilateral relation in a good shape. This year we have been celebrating the 76th anniversary of our bilateral relations. So it means, may I say, they're still very young, but very promising because last year our leaders adopted a strategic partnership between the Russian Federation and the Republic of Indonesia, and both leaders and respective agencies, ministries, business people are trying to implement the decision and agreements reached by two presidents. So it means we are trying to really to have comprehensive relations in any fields, not only diplomacy and politics, but also economic cooperation, scientific exchanges, educational exchanges, military technical cooperation also, so in many different fields.
So, Ambassador Sergei, the cordial relations between Indonesia and Russia is the evidence of the President Prabowo's several visits to Russia, right? And including visit to several ministers to your country. So, how do you view the intensify of this visit by Indonesian government officials?
First of all, I would like to stress that such exchange, a really very regular exchange of visit, because Pak Prabowo since June last year, so in 12 months, he was in Russia 3 times already. And really several ministers and other high-ranking officials from Indonesia and from Russia have been in our respective countries. This is not just to pay visits. This is to discuss specific issues and to promote, sometimes even, may I say, push our bilateral relations, because this is what leaders and ministers should do, to facilitate cooperation between specific enterprises, companies.
Right.
But we need to sometimes to discuss some regulations, some general issues, to create favorable atmosphere and create specific landscape for our practical cooperation. And I believe so even such some visits that, for example, in last 2 months, some Indonesian high-ranking officials paid to Russia were very important. I would like to mention the visit of Pak Sultan Bakhtiar Najimuddin, Ketua DPD, because it was discussions about cooperation between parliaments of our two countries, and parliaments, they create a legal basis for our bilateral cooperation. Then in June, Pak Agus Harimurti Yudhoyono, coordinating minister for infrastructure and regional development, also was in Moscow.
Right.
And there was specific discussions about cooperation in maritime fields, shipbuilding, maritime lines. I hope he has an opportunity to see. I know that he is responsible for great seawall in Java, in northern part of Java, and also for development of railroad system in Indonesia. So we also have a lot of experience here. Also seawall around St. Petersburg, and we have a very big experience because Russia have one of the maybe biggest system of railroads, and including high-speed trains between Moscow and St. Petersburg, for example. So we have a lot of things to discuss and to propose to Indonesia. And just in a couple of weeks, we expect to see in the city of Yekaterinburg, Minister Agus Gumilan's Kartasasmita, Minister of Industry of Indonesia, and he will lead the Indonesian delegation to one very big international industrial exhibition called Innoprom. Indonesia this year is a country partner of this exhibition. We hope, and he already let me see scheme of Indonesian separate pavilion when Indonesia will be able to show its goods, equipment, techniques, and also to have some business matching and business discussion, also to promote and to come to some specific contracts, deals, agreements between companies to increase our bilateral trade and economic exchanges.
Pak Sergei, you've mentioned about the visits of Minister Agus Yudhoyono to your country recently, and we know that some of Russian business people already expressed commitment to strengthen bilateral or cooperation with Indonesia, as demonstrated by shipbuilders who expressed interest in collaborating with Indonesia during the visit. So, do you have any updates about that?
Well, I can say that the talks are going on because even before his visit to Moscow and St. Petersburg, some Russian shipbuilding companies came to Indonesia from different parts of Russia because, well, our country is very large and we have shipbuilding facilities not only in St. Petersburg, but also, by the way, in Kazan, in the Republic of Tatarstan, and also in Russian Far East in Vladivostok. So companies are ready to, and they already sent some proposals to Indonesian counterparts regarding speedboats, other kind of ships. Even some companies are looking for Indonesian labor force to use in our shipbuilding facilities. So it's different proposals now. There are under discussions with different Indonesian companies, private companies, a state company, PT PAL, and some others. So, of course, it's just maybe a first step, but I'm looking for some positive results because we have technologies, we have a lot of experience, and this is, cooperation in this field, it could be complementary because we can maybe propose to build some ships here in Indonesia, but also Indonesia looking to maybe to order and to request to build some ships, very specific ships, for example, for scientific research, for technical issues in Russia. And we already have approach from BRIN and some other agencies in Indonesia because we also have experience in building such specific ships. So this is, every country has its some strong position in shipbuilding area. So we can be real partners in this field, I believe.
Yeah. If we're talking about the business, of course, there are many sectors that we can dig in and collaborate. So besides about the shipbuilding, maybe do you have any idea what other sector that?
Well, really quite many. Energy and also in many different aspects, starting from supply of Russian oil and gas to Indonesia and lubricants. Also, we are ready to cooperate with Indonesia in the field of nuclear energy, and Rosatom, it's Russian State Corporation for Atomic Energy, is very active here. We are ready to start negotiation when Indonesia will decide and take the final decision about construction of the first nuclear power plant here. Just in end April and beginning of May, the head of Rosatom was here. He got a meeting with Pak Prabowo and some other agencies. So we are on standby position, may I say, and we are also ready to be partner of Indonesian. It's it will be not only NPP. It will be like beginning of a new industry in Indonesia, nuclear industry, because it's will involve a lot of things, scientific research, education of and studies in Russian universities to prepare specialists in nuclear area for Indonesia. Even bring more information to public and to population of Indonesia, just to explain that nuclear industry, it's not dangerous. It's now we've got sophisticated technologies, we have already experience and very safe technologies, safe and proven, what Russia and Rosatom can propose. So also I believe cooperation in agriculture, starting from grains and meat from Russia, but also we are looking for some products, tropical products from Indonesia, like coffee, cacao, tea, palm oil also. So it means that I believe, and also some specific issues regarding medicine and pharmaceutical area, some industrial projects. So I believe so. We have many ideas, but this is what business people should do. And the task of my embassy, trade mission of Russia here in Jakarta, Russian export center that also have now its representative here in Indonesia, to promote, to bring and fight, to help find appropriate partners for our companies. So we are trying to do this business. Sometimes we are not in a hurry to announce something, but when and if and when there will be some practical results, we are ready to say this. For example, I mentioned about, and you told also about session of our bilateral economic commission that has been held in Kazan this May. On the sidelines of this event, one Russian company and Indonesian companies have signed a MOU about distribution of one Russian medicine here in Indonesia. So this is a really helping instrument to help, especially aging people, people who has already high age. So this is some maybe small steps, but this is the first, may I say, success stories. And I hope so every month we will have more and more results. And especially I hope that after Innoprom, when I expect to have a very big delegation from Indonesia and mostly from business. So also maybe we will have more ideas, maybe even more contracts and agreements.
So, Pak Dubes, if we talk about the people-to-people context, recently we got, Indonesians, we got the happy news from the Russian government that Russian government plans to implement the free visa for Indonesians. Do you have any updates about that, Pak?
No, so I also have heard some news, but at this moment I cannot add anything because, at this moment, on what I know, what we have on the table, this is an agreement, bilateral agreement on facilitating visa processing in both countries. It's not visa-free, but just to make easier all the procedures, not to bring so many documents for holders of ordinary passports. Because for diplomats and holders of service passports, it's already for free. So now we are looking how to facilitate the life and trips of ordinary people. But this agreement for several years already have been discussed by both sides. I hope maybe we will be able to finalize it this year. So in this case, maybe free visa will be like next step. Of course, You know, this is in general our point of view that there should be no visa barriers for ordinary people for any country. But in any case, should be maybe the subject of next intergovernmental agreement. Because normally with some other countries we do it not just declaring something but signing some documents, because such a decision also should have a very strong legal base.
So the visa free is not yet.
Not yet, and unfortunately not, but I believe so. This is the real future of our relations. Because we should not complicate the life of our citizens. We should try to do some specific steps to facilitate their trips, voyages. But well, I believe so. We just need time, but finally we will do this.
If you know that bilateral relations between Indonesia and Russia also includes about the peoples, right? But do you have updates about maybe in education sectors? Because we know that Russia gives scholarship to Indonesians every year.
Yes. Well, so it's here I can bring some good news, because yes, every year we provide scholarships, several hundred scholarships. For this year specifically, at the first stage we've got 300. This quota is already full, and that's why we asked Moscow to give us some more, maybe several dozens, 40, 50 scholarships. I hope this request will be implemented, and this will give my embassy and me personally the possibility to ask more, maybe 350, like a first step for next year, 2027. So, and step by step, year by year, to increase this number, because the demand is still high.
Yeah.
Here, a lot of young Indonesians would like to come to Russia, and we are looking for the best people, best young people who have been graduated from schools also. And we already, a lot of Russian universities are open for quite many different specialties, starting from nuclear up to theater, dancing, anything else. Also, we promote cultural exchange, exchange between museums, youth exchange.
Yeah.
Just yesterday here at my embassy, I met two young Indonesian girls who have been chosen to spend 3 weeks in Russian summer camp Artek. It's very famous. Every year we've got international campaign for foreign children from foreign countries. And now I'm very glad that two Indonesians will be there for 3 weeks in Crimea, on the seashore of Black Sea. It's a very good possibility to exchange, to make and to get some friends from, not only from Russia, because it's international campaign, so it will be a representative from different countries of the world. So it's a lot of opportunities. We invite tourist companies to promote tourism here in Indonesia. We invite people from cultural circles of Indonesia. In September, there will be big cultural forum in St. Petersburg. We call it Forum of United Cultures, and I expect a delegation from Indonesia also to participate there. So it's a lot of possibilities, and if someone have another ideas, also yesterday I've got here a representative of one women organization of Indonesia, Komunitas Wanita Indonesia, Kovina. No, Kovani. Kovani. Well, they're also looking for some partners, business women, business ladies from both countries can discuss something. So we are looking for any opportunity, possibility, and try to facilitate it.
But in your view, how Russian see Indonesia? Because we know historically we already closed from a long, long time ago.
Yes, and well, not only historically, but still very close. And well, I have heard from everyone who have been visiting Indonesia that they also a little bit surprised that Indonesians are very friendly, very smiling people, very open, ready to discuss something. And even when sometimes we organize some gatherings with representative of Russian universities, youth or social organizations, they also usually after such gatherings they told me that Indonesian youth, especially Indonesian students, are very proactive. They're always asking questions, trying to get more information. And also from my side, I can confirm that we've got a very positive reaction from Indonesian youth, because we try to organize here maybe at the embassy in what we call Russian house here in Jakarta, at some universities in now mostly in Jakarta, but now we are looking for possibilities to go on beyond Jakarta, maybe in Bandung, Jogja, or Surabaya and other cities. We try to organize some gatherings to introduce Russian culture, history of my country, just to explain what embassy is doing here. Also to bring more information about Russian scholarships. So always a lot of people are coming, they're asking questions, would like to study Russian languages, to come to my country. So it means that we are still very close to each other. We have very big interest to know much more about Indonesia for Russians and about Russia for Indonesians. And this means that embassy, Russian house, and other representative offices of Russia here, we've got a lot of things to do. So it's very big homework, and I believe so. I already tell that, you know, I believe that bilateral relations that have several bases, maybe fundaments. Of course, legal one. Of course, economic, because we should get some practical results. It's turnover goods from Russia here and from Indonesia in my country. But it also should be one maybe people-to-people basis, because this mutual understanding, the good feelings to each other, it's also very important, because it's create a very positive atmosphere in our bilateral relations, and this make us really closer, maybe even closer than before. And now in the 21st century, it's even easier, because now we are, well, of course, geographically the situation is still the same. It's thousands of miles and kilometers between our countries. But using modern technologies, airplanes, internet, so we can connect each other very quickly, very easily. And this is also a good opportunity, especially for youth, for young generations, to get connections, to collaborate to each other, to know each other very, very closely. And this is also, I believe, it's a very good social, maybe, part of our bilateral relations.
We know that President Prabowo already visited Russia officially. So we are wondering when President Putin will visit Indonesia.
Well, I hope soon, because when Pak Prabowo was in Moscow last December, he invited President Putin, and my president replied that, well, he will try to visit Indonesia in the year 26 or 27. So 26 is already here now. So I hope, maybe if not this year, maybe next year, President can come. But also, I believe so. First of all, for me as ambassador, for embassy, it will be big job, big challenge to organize such a high-ranking visit. And we also very important that it will be not only because my president will come not as a tourist, yes, not just for sightseeing, but we need some very practical substance, maybe some important agreements, some maybe big projects that can be announced during such talks. So that's why we should look at this task we already, and what we are doing now, all this exchange of visits, talks, negotiation, this is, we are preparing background for such a high-ranking contacts, because of course it's not for the president to discuss some minor things. Yes, it should be done by experts, by embassies, diplomats, business people, and presidents. They should maybe some discuss some major problems if we will have some stumbling blocks or something else. So that's why we should prepare the field for our presidents to have a next meeting. I hope next meeting will be here somewhere in Indonesia. I don't know. President Putin already was in Jakarta 20 years ago in 2007, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe next time anywhere else, Bali, maybe even Labuan Bajo, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows,
It's
right?
so many interesting places here.
So, Ambassador Sergei, could you tell us a little bit about the meeting, the summit of ASEAN and Russia that's ongoing now in Kazan?
Yes, well, so all the delegations are already there. Well, unfortunately, due to some internal reasons, Pak Prabowo cannot come, but the leaders of all other 10 ASEAN member states are there in Kazan. Yesterday, late in the evening, it was a gala dinner hosted by President Vladimir Putin. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Pak Sugiono, was there, shake hands with Mr. Putin. So summit itself, 2 plenary sessions and meeting with business and is planned for today. So I hope for a fruitful discussion, because we organize this commemorative summit in Russia to commemorate 35th anniversary of establishment of dialogue, partnership and relations between Russia and ASEAN. We still believe that ASEAN is an important organization. It's, let's say, one of the polar, maybe, of this multipolar world, and important player he is in Southeast Asia and in Asia Pacific in general. And we have also very practical dialogue with ASEAN as organization, and with now with almost every ASEAN member states. Because, for example, just one example, since last year, Timor-Leste is a new ASEAN member state, and for the first time, today there will be first talks between President of Russia and Prime Minister of Timor-Leste. So even with this newcomer, new member of ASEAN, we have something to discuss bilaterally, and with ASEAN as organization. So we have cooperation in political issues, in economic field, in countering terrorism, countering transnational crimes, in education, youth cooperation, so almost everything with ASEAN. And I hope it also will push our relations with ASEAN and to bring it to the new high level. But also it will be good opportunities to bilaterally discuss some practical things with member states. Yesterday, President Putin has already 3 meetings with some leaders: President of the Philippines, Prime Minister of Malaysia, and Sultan of Brunei. So I hope more meetings for today, and this will be a real breakthrough, maybe, in our relations with ASEAN and countries of Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, of course.
Mr. Ambassador, my last question would be, we know that Russian embassy will be holding the National Day reception on June 29th.
Yes,
Do
exactly.
you have any hope for the bilateral relations with both countries?
Of course, only some good prospects and good hopes. Well, yes, this year, I believe you know that our national day is June 12th. Together, by the way, same day the Philippines have got the national day. That's why every year it's not a challenge for us, but it's just a topic of friendly discussion. Who will celebrate its national day exactly on June 12th? And this year, new ambassador of the Philippines, Chris, come to me and asked to give him this favor. We agreed, of course, and that's why we decided to organize our National Day later on in June. But it's still important for us. It's a National Day celebration. I would like to get together all our Indonesian friends and colleagues, of course, media, social organizations, representative of ministries. And this is a good opportunity to maybe to make some conclusions what we have done during the last 12 months, but also to see for some huge prospects for the future. And I still believe, and I not only believe, I know that we are doing everything. We are trying to pay a lot of efforts and do our best to promote our bilateral cooperation. And I hope that in coming years we will get much more achievements in this field, what I call sometimes success stories in different fields. And I will ask Indonesian colleagues and friends to help us in this endeavor. And of course, I hope this event will be covered by media, including RRI. And I will be very glad to see you and your colleagues there. So this is, of course, festive day, but also we are looking for some practical discussions, maybe on the sidelines of the event.
For sure. So before we're closing, do you have something to add?
Yes, well, first of all, I would like to wish all your listeners and viewers good health and success in every endeavor they have. And regarding our bilateral cooperation with Indonesia, I would like ask your audience to follow attentively what we are trying to do, and if they believe it's possible to practically participate in such activities, well, maybe sometimes small, some social activities, some gatherings, but please come. Embassy, I cannot say that embassy is open for everyone, but at least diplomats are open. We are ready to have a lot of events, discussions, exchange of views. We are trying, sometimes we get ideas from the first look. Maybe it's crazy ideas, but sometimes from such crazy ideas we got some practical things and good results. So please, if you've got anything to tell us, do not hesitate. Please come and please be our friends and colleagues. So terima kasih banyak and thank you very much. Spasiba.
Thank you, Pak.
Thank you.
Demikian wawancara saya bersama Duta Besar Rusia untuk Indonesia yang mulia Bapak Sergei Tolchenov, utamanya dalam memperkuat hubungan bilateral Indonesia dan Rusia yang memasuki usia 76 tahun kali ini. Terima kasih Pak Dubes.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.